So I picked out that song for a reason. How many of you resonated with that? Why can't I change? Okay, and how many of you feel like you have been changing? Okay, so resistance is the first step to change. What does that mean? Resistance is the first step. How can you even become aware that you need to change if there's not something resisting, that force of resistance coming at you to direct you to take a step into whatever we need to change? Have you ever gone through a time where all of a sudden you start complaining about something that you want to be different in your life? You start complaining about it, or maybe you start talking to your friends about it. You start communicating to somebody about it. That is change. That is pushing at you to do something. It's bringing that awareness to you, or you wouldn't be talking about it, right? Or you wouldn't be complaining about it. Our complaints and our feelings and the way we think are there to bring awareness to us. And once you take a step in that direction and become a little bit willing to do something a little bit different, guess what? Your teachers start showing up. Books start popping out. Marianne walked by How to Heal Your Life, which is the book that we're using this month. And what happened? She kept hearing, pick me up, this book. And so she went back to it and picked it up and said, I really like to have this book. So she became aware, she was listening, and she took a step. She was resisting it at the same time though, weren't you? What happened? What were you resisting?
Not sure it's the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do a lot.
Right. She wasn't sure that it was the right time. Do you think that there's any exact time to make a decision to change? Huh? No. It's when we become aware of it, and then we become willing to do something about it. So resistance is there for a reason. It's trying to wake you up and get your attention. If you dismiss it, then you're right. You will be stagnated. You will be asking, why can't I change? Why am I staying in the same place? Those will be the questions you will start asking yourself. But in the question comes the answer. Why? I'm aware now. What? I'm willing now. Where? I want to take a step. Process, right? Process. So I want to look at some of the things that might sabotage us from not changing. The moment you take responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you can change anything in your life. Do you feel you're responsible for what is showing up in your life? Most Unity True students know that we are responsible for everything in our reality, no matter what it is. So if you do not even have this belief in your consciousness, it's going to be very hard. Because what's going to happen if you're not being responsible for your reality? What happens? You start blaming, you start shaming, you start pushing it away, pushing it down, repressing it, all those wonderful little things that we do. Victimhood. Anger. Right. Because we have established these patterns of thought and behavior and beliefs from the time we were these little bitty, precious, universal children. Right? And then it all changes. Then the programming sits in. But we know here that we're responsible. Right? Principle 3. I create my reality through my thoughts, words, actions, feelings. Principle number 3 at Unity. So what's another sabotaging thing we do? We criticize other people. I'm not going to change because it's their fault. So we criticize them, we look at them, we judge them, we blame them. And what are you actually doing when you're doing that to somebody else? You're criticizing yourself. Because they are a reflection of everything you don't like about yourself. You would never have become aware of what you disliked about another person if it wasn't something within your own being that you disliked about yourself. Make sense? If we're one, we're all connected. Makes total sense to me. So these will sabotage you from making a change. Because I don't need to. It's their fault. They need to change. How many times we tried to do that? How many times have we tried to change somebody else so we'll be okay with ourselves? The only person we can change is ourselves. And when you change, your reflection out here looks different. And if they're awake and willing, you will affect that. You will affect them just by you being the change. So let's look at our affirmations. Another way we self-sabotage ourselves. First of all, when you start doing affirmations, are you releasing what isn't serving your highest good before you do the affirmation? Or are you just going around saying, I am this, I am that, I am this. But yet you don't really believe it, but I'm going to say it because that's what they tell me to do. Again, you're being programmed. They told me to do this. They told me to say these affirmations. So I'm going to do it because someone told me to. It doesn't work. We have to first release whatever it is that is covering and shielding our truth of our light and our love. That has to first be released. Now, we had this talk one time before about when you say an affirmation, even after you've released, and you don't believe it. How can you affirm something if in the back of your head, I don't believe it anyway, but I'm going to say it. So the book that I shared with you one time before talks about affirming that I am in the process of affirming my life, or whatever you want to say. I'm in the process until you can get to a place where the release has actually healed you. And then when you say the I am, man, you say it and you say it and you know it. Right? Totally different. So there is a process with using affirmations as well. And that can self-sabotage you. Because you're going to get resentful. I'm saying these things, but I don't see any results from it. Well, did you do anything? Did you do the work? Did you do the release? It's that process again, guys. And that's what we're here. That's what we're here doing. I am willing to release the need for this condition. So we are conditioned human beings. We have been conditioned from the time we came into this world. So all these conditions that we've placed upon ourselves, until we have the willingness to release it, you will stay in the condition. And the condition, if it is left unattended to, will manifest itself in your physical body. All right? Do you care if I share? So Mary Ann, who's just now starting this work, she's a beautiful example of what happens when you start the process. She had a leg brace that she felt was supporting her, taking care of her, holding her up. She starts the work. She starts releasing. She's still working on the affirming, but she's working on it. And look at her. She's smiling. Her eyes are filled with light. Before, I never saw that coming from her. No brace. Not dragging her foot anymore. These are the healings that take place when we wake up and we become willing to take the steps into the process of our healing and our wholeness. Okay, so change ahead. Y'all ready to do some changing? Y'all ready to do what it takes to change? To transform? Okay, so the book goes through these principles. Willingness to let go, controlling the mind, and learning how forgiveness of self and others releases us. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us right now that we're going to do. So let's get our journals ready. Everybody does have a mirror. Okay? So we're going to do the work. Ready? Oh yeah, I'm ready. Can't wait, Lisa.
Ready, Freddie?
A little too much excitement in this place. Okay, so we're going to go to willingness to let go is first, and this exercise, as soon as I get to it. All right, so let's get still. And we're going to set the intention right now to release the need for this condition, whatever this condition may be. You probably know what some of your conditioning is. But we're going to release that now. So let's just pause here and take a couple of deep cleansing breaths just to come into this present moment. Remember, the power is in the present moment of now. That is when we manifest. That is when we change and evolve, is in the moment of now, that presence of now. So I want you to think for a moment about something in your life that you want to change. Now I want you to go to your mirrors. Beautiful reflection. And I invite you to say this out loud with me as you look in your mirrors. Okay? I now release. I'm into releasing. Forget the realizing. I now realize that I have created this condition, and I am now willing to release the pattern in my consciousness that is responsible for this condition. So put your mirrors down. And again, if you need some more time to reflect on what that condition is you'd like to change, give you a few minutes. I think some people weren't really ready. We want you to do the work, so take your time. And ask yourself if you really mean it. Do you really mean it, or are you just saying the words? Spirituality is about questioning yourself. Convince yourself in the mirror that this time you are ready to step out of the bondage of the past. At this point, many people get scared because they don't know how to do the releasing. Wait.
Right.
The thing about this work is you don't need to know how to do it. All you have to do is make that commitment, intention to do it. And when you have done that, you shift, and the universe gives you everything you need. Things will start happening and coming to you on their own because you just made the choice. So everything you think, the words you use, the actions you take, you're making a choice. And you are declaring what you are wanting to create. So I'm going to invite you to say this again with me, now that you've done a little bit of journaling on it. I now realize that I have created this condition, and I am now willing to release a pattern in my consciousness that is responsible for this condition. Now, I would also like to invite you on the things that you're wanting to release today, that you create a separate paper so that during the burning bowl, you can burn those and release that. Okay? The next principle she talks about is controlling the mind. And just for you, those of you who don't know, we are using this book, Louise L. You Can Heal Your Life, this month. So for those of you wondering where this information is coming from, this is the book. And we have those here in our gift shop. So the next exercise, your mind is a tool you can choose to use any way you wish. People have the wrong idea of what the mind is. Is your mind controlling you, or are you controlling your mind? Huh? You control your mind. And if you're not controlling your mind, you're living in chaos and conflict. Because it's running the show. And the mind is going to connect to the outer world, right? Because that's what it sees. That's what it hears, right? So unless you are becoming the master of how you think and controlling your mind, it's running on its own with no guidance, no direction. Just whatever's out here directing it. So let's do the work here. So the first one is, the exercise is letting go. Again, let's take a deep breath. And as you exhale, release all the tension in your body. Let's do that 3 times. You're just creating a place to relax and come to this present moment of now. Let your scalp and your forehead and your face relax. Actually see this. You might want to clench your teeth and then relax back. Now let your tongue and your throat and your shoulders relax. I like to take my shoulders to my ears and drop them down. And that creates relaxation there. Let your back and your abdomen and your pelvis relax. Let your breathing be at peace as you relax your legs and your feet. In this relaxed, comfortable position, say to yourself, and you can just say these to yourself, I am willing to let go. If you want to say them out loud, you may. I release. I let go. I release all tension. I release all fear. I release all anger. I release all guilt. I release all sadness. I let go of all old limitations. I let go, and I am at peace. I am at peace with myself. I am at peace with the process of life. I am safe. So now you've set the intention to release. And all it takes is intention. So now what about the physical body? Sometimes we need to release by physically doing something, right? What are some things you can do to release physically? We've got some girls at Wednesday night that started doing kickboxing. That'll definitely help you release.
Pull weeds.
Pull weeds. She's been pulling weeds all weekend. Grounding.
Qigong and yoga.
Qigong and yoga. She takes a dog for a walk. I know a lot of, in my past, there was times I'd take the car when I was running away from a conflict. Get in that car as fast as I go, see ya! And then I'd stop and I'd beat the heck out of the top of the roof of the car, screaming and hollering. Always helped me to release stuff. What about beating the pillows or the bed? Or a lot of people do stuff like that.
Pots and pans or
Pots and pans.
yelling at the top of your voice.
Yes. Debbie? Well, that was a loud thing. That's a loud release.
That was a loud release.
200 Vibe Squad to hear it. So physically, when we get things so stuck within us, sometimes we really have to exert the physical movement and setting the intention to let it go. That's all good, because it will help you also to not take it out on somebody else. Because that's one thing we want to remember, is to always be loving to ourselves and to others when it comes time for healing and releasing. To do it from a place that is safe for you and whoever else. Okay, release the past. Letting the past hold you back. How many times do we allow that past to run our lives? How many times have you not stepped forward into something because of the fear of what it did to you in the past? So many times, I know for me, love just never worked for me in relationships. And I held this mindset that love hurts. I used to play that song over and over and over again. Love hurts. I even wrote it on. I had a big piece of notebook, and I had on the outside of the notebook, my beautiful thing to look at was love hurts. Because that was my experience, and that's where I chose to stay. So I stayed stuck in that past. And what did it do? It stopped me from feeling that for myself or anybody else. So I had to heal from all that, and I had to release that. So our past does nothing but stop you from evolving, from becoming this spiritual divine being that you are. It will stop you from knowing that truth within you, because you'll be back there somewhere and you brought it up here into the present moment. And it will keep on, keeping on. Okay, so let's get our journals out again. And I want you to think of a past thing that happened to you that you are still holding on to, that is still in the present moment for you. So let's write that down, and if that's something you're going to release today, you want it to be so that you can use it on the burning bulb. So ask and you shall receive. We're doing Sundays more interactively. Some of us may have a whole page full. Trying to think what I'm still holding on. What am I still holding on to? And the more you do this work, the less you will have to journal about, the less you will have to release. You know, one thing about this work is not to get impatient, to not look for a quick fix. You know, that's what society has another belief that they have incorporated into our programming. This has to be quick. You know, why do you think the pills and the pharmaceutical company does so well? Because it's a quick fix. You don't have to go through the process of eliminating things that aren't working in your world. You don't have to release anything. You just take whatever they give you, and guess what? The symptoms ease down, but do you have any idea what caused it? No. You never get to the root cause because you're so impatient. And what does patient, when you look at the word impatient and separate, I am patient. Like the word impossible. I am possible. Change these words around. Empower yourself. With patience. Amber and I were talking earlier this morning about our path. And she was kind of looking at herself as she's not getting there fast enough or something. And I said, Amber, I started this path in 1998. I'm just now getting it. So, we can do it quicker if we do the work. But you really got to do that. And be patient and kind and loving to yourself through that process. Okay.
It's been a major trigger for me lately is I just keep hearing patience.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I've been trying to help other people with because you said you want it now.
Yeah.
But patience is a major factor right now with all this, especially with healing and everything that's going on in the world, to not overwhelm yourself. Just divine time to be patient.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
it's crucial right now.
Thank you. Yes, that's so true. So let's talk about some forgiveness here. Carly's going to be doing a workshop on forgiveness. And so if you want to do some really deep work, hopefully you will attend that workshop, because I just know it will help you to forgive if you still got that going on. And like the Course of Miracles says, that forgiveness is the answer to almost everything. And that has a lot to do with our past. All these things we just went through. A lot of them are because we're still not forgiving, right? Ourselves or somebody else. So we're going to get into this work here. Dissolving resentment. Emmett Fox did an exercise for resolving resentment that always works. So we're going to do this little exercise that Emmett Fox gave to us. So we're going to sit again and get settled in your seats. Close your eyes. And this is what you want to do for every time you want to go into the consciousness, is to relax, close your eyes, set your intention, and allow your mind and your body to just relax. Now I want you to imagine yourself sitting in a darkened theater, and in front of you is a small stage. Now on that stage, I want you to place a person that you resent the most. It could be someone in the past or in the present. It could be someone living or it could be someone dead. Maybe you're holding resentments about, a lot of people still hold resentments about parents that have passed because they passed. When you see this person clearly, visualize good things happening to this person. Things that would be meaningful to that person. See that person smiling and happy, filled with joy. See them peaceful. Now hold this image and then just let it fade away. Now as this person leaves the stage, put yourself on the stage. See good things happening to yourself. See yourself smiling, so happy, and just filled with joy and peace and love. Because the abundance of the universe is here for us all. So come back to this space and time here now, once you've done that. So for some of us to forgive, we really need to feel the emotion of revenge. Remember, we've always talked about no emotion is bad, no emotion is wrong. It's there for your awareness. It's there to get your attention. So for those of you who have felt that you wanted revenge for somebody for what they have done, we're going to do this exercise. Again, I invite you to close your eyes. Think of the people who are hardest to forgive. What would you really like to do to them? What do they need to do to get your forgiveness? And imagine that happening right now, what they would need to do. Get into the details about it. It's okay, you're safe. How long do you want them to suffer?
Well, that's a good question. It really is, because if you're really mad at somebody, and there was hell right over there, and you could watch them rolling around and burning flames. And honestly, how long could you take watching?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
For real. When we say go to hell, do we really mean that?
right. No, it's not that we mean it, it's just that we've been hurt. So that's how we protect. We go into survival
Oh, I
mode.
totally agree with what
Yeah.
you said. I'm just saying that you're pushing, what would you like to do to this person? Well, even if you said I'd like to beat him in the head with a hammer, really? So you feel good about that?
Yeah.
It
But
kinda
this is
flops.
it's just a way to help you to get it out of your system and then to let it go. And sometimes when we just do what we think we want to do, and it's just a thought, then we're able to take that thought and release that thought
I agree.
without going out and actually throwing them in a thing of fire.
Because really, if we're compassionate, how could we even do that?
Right, exactly.
Because even if we could,
Yes. So maybe you come to that realization right now. As you're seeing that happen, why would I could never really do that? So that's a realization to see, even though I might think that that's what I'm wanting to do, not really. Once you visualize it, it takes on a whole different form, doesn't it? Thank you, Wade. Yes.
Yeah, the energy will change from hatred, being mad, see what I'm saying, the level will
Yeah.
go down and down.
Exactly. Yeah. Beautiful. So we just saw that evolve right here among us, didn't we? Love it. So when you feel complete about this, let it be over forever. Don't pick it back up again. You should feel lighter. You should feel ready to forgive. And I want you to also understand that what we're doing today doesn't mean you're going to walk out the door and boom, everything's going to be pretty and rosy. I am giving you the tools to do the work. These books are in the gift shop, as I said. But I'm showing you what the work looks like and what it feels like. And if you think it'll benefit you. So this is work to do every week or every day. Whatever you need to forgive. Okay, so we're going to move on to forgiveness. This exercise, again, just relax a little bit as we go into this. So ask yourself, the person I need to forgive is, and then write that down. And then I forgive you for. Do you even remember what you need to forgive them for? There's sometimes I felt like I needed to do some forgiveness work and I couldn't remember what they even did to me. I just knew I felt a certain way about them, but I couldn't even remember what happened. So that's when we get quiet and allow it to come into our consciousness.
Get down to the nitty gritty, break it down.
Yeah, yeah.
It's always fun. That's how you evolve, though.
And this work can be fun. If you're doing it with the intention of getting back into your beautiful, spiritual, divine essence, I know for me, I would have done anything and everything to get out of the suffering and the pain I was in.
It's
Anything.
beautiful when you change from the inside out, and your outside world changes as well.
Exactly. Because what's out here is what's going on in here. Don't let anyone tell you anything different. You can be an example of it because we live it. If you're paying attention, you're going to know that's what's happening. If you're honest with your thoughts, you're going to know. But that word honesty is the big one.
You are who you hang out with.
You are who you hang out
And
with.
just from the last couple of years, from how my life has changed and still changing, it was dark and ugly and dingy, and just you realize it. And then when you finally start seeing that light pierce through, and you realize who you're hanging out with, it's a beautiful reflection. You're like, I really like that. Oh,
Yeah.
I want to keep doing that.
Yeah.
You know, and it feels good. It really
Right.
does. So
Exactly.
you can just see how you are in control of your own life and how that does change.
Yeah, and people will start coming into your life when you start feeling that way. All these people will just start showing up, you know? But I've had to detach and let go of a lot of people in my life because that's what my reflection looked like. So I had to let them go. And now I have this beautiful reflection of light and love because that's what's coming into my life now, because I've cleared the rest away, made room for it. Yes. Okay. So we thank yourselves for doing this work of this person. But now we want to go down and you always want to do the work, not just on somebody else, but on yourself as well. Because you're in this together. It's really just one thing going on. So if you're just addressing something out here, that's what you're doing. You're addressing it out here, you're not doing the inner work. But when you bring it in here to self, capital S, that's when the work begins. You connected yourself with the oneness of all. So next you're going to say, I forgive myself for. So write that down. Is there something you need to forgive yourself for? Maybe you need to forgive yourself for needing to forgive someone else. Did you ever think of that? Why did I feel this way in the first place about this person? Why did I take what they said so personal? Why did I think that they hurt me? You know, if we come to the realization that everybody's doing the best they can at that time, everybody, even you, we're doing the best we can. And if we realize that about everybody else, it makes life look so different. You just accept people right where they're at. Again, not desiring to change them, but change the inside of you so that you perceive them differently. So how are we doing? Doing okay? Okay, the last one here, we're going to go into a visualization. And just like what Margot did, once we create the release and we fill that up with affirming the opposite or whatever, however you want to look at that, then you visualize by using the power of the imagination of what that's going to look like for you. Okay? Assisting the universe with that. Because we're one. We are the universe, right? Yes. All right. So now we're going to get relaxed again. Close your eyes. And I want you to begin to visualize yourself as a little child of 5 or 6. Look deeply into this little child's eyes. And if some of you want to use your mirrors now, I would want to. I would want to look in my mirror and I would want to look into my eyes and I would want to go straight into the heart where my little child is. That's what you're wanting to do? That's good. See the longing that is there. If you're looking in your mirror, see that. See and feel that. And realize there's only one thing this little child wants from you. And that is love. So reach your arms out and embrace this child. Let's do the visualization. See that. Embrace that. Hold it with love and tenderness. Tell it how much you love it. How much you care. Admire everything about this child and say that it's okay to make mistakes while learning. Promise that you will always be there no matter what. Now let this little child get very small until it is just the size to fit into your heart. Put it there so whenever you look down, you can see this little face looking up at you, and you can give it lots of love. Now visualize your mother has a little girl, 4 or 5 years old, frightened and looking for love and not knowing where to find it. Reach out your arms and hold this little girl and let her know how much you love her, how much you care. Let her know that she can rely on you always. When she quiets down and begins to feel safe, let her get very small. Just the size to fit your heart. And put her there with your own little child and give them each lots of love. Now imagine your father has a little boy, 3 or 4, frightened, crying, and looking for love. See the tears rolling down his little face when he doesn't know where to turn. You have become good at comforting frightened little children, so reach out your arms and hold his trembling little body. Comfort him. Let him feel how much you love him. Let him feel that you are always there for him. When his tears are dry and you feel the love and peace in his little body, let him get very small, just the size to fit into your heart. Put him there so those 3 little children can give each other lots of love and you can love them all. If you knew that you had enough love in your heart to create a whole universe, that is how powerful you are. So you should be feeling a little bit lighter now. This is a wonderful practice to do for inner child work and for those of us who have had those issues with our parents, knowing that they did the best that they could do. Everybody feel okay? Allow those tears to come. It's okay. You're safe. Allow them to come. That's the way we release through our tears. Cleanse yourself and release. So now that you have all of these things that will help you to change, if you let them go, I invite you to come up and use the burning bowl to release them. Set your intention and to release those. If you're not ready to release something, it's your choice to hold on to it and do more work on it.